replay of a battle between me as Carthage and Tomg02 as Arverni. This battle is interesting for me for several reasons, one being that I'm trying a new build. I rarely use companion cavalry and I rarely use mercenary noble fighters. My graphics are being downgraded there because I have them on extreme.
Understood!
So my build is, let's just pause it for a while, African War Elephant General, 2 mercenary Gallic warriors on each flank of these mercenary noble fighters. The mercenary Gallic warriors are again flanked by late Libyan hoplites, Carthaginian cavalry and mercenary companion cavalry, and my build is symmetrical, and 4 Iberian swords in the center. So, from what I can see here, my opponent has a pretty strong center of swords that should be able to deal with my center of swords fairly easily. Although I have these noble fighters, I can't compete with these numbers, and especially when the naked warriors get into the mix. So my general idea is to just push up, charge in, and use these mercenary Iberian swords to kill off the naked swords before they can get too many kills. Send the cavalry around. I can't see any spear units and I can't see any skirmishers, and that makes me very suspicious indeed. So I will try to do some scouting and see if I can pull some spear units and skirmishers out of these woods, possibly. Now on this map I usually like to go for these positions here pretty quickly, because it will allow for good scouting and rear charges. So I'm just a bit faster than my opponent up this hill, which is going to... He doesn't actually see my late Libyan hoplites yet, so I'm able to sneak these guys up and just post these guys here, and hopefully now we can see them, and hopefully he will send his guys up here, wondering where my cavalry went. Over here I don't see any spear units coming in, and I'm just going to go for the charge, for the glory down the hill. Carthaginian cavalry, not the best cavalry in the world, but they do have a bonus against cavalry, and they managed to catch these guys unaware. The companions are charging in. Now, my opponent could of course support these fights here with chosen swords, but then he's weakening his center to a significant degree, so he chooses not to. Here I'm making a huge mistake. I'm sending my mercenary Iberian swords in. I gave them a move order too far forward, and they are faster than these noble fighters and the Gallic warriors, so I'm going to waste these units completely. They're hardly going to get any kills, and they're going to just get shredded by all of these guys. So pretty significant mistake there. I just wasted a lot of points in units that aren't going to pay for themselves. Still, continuing the fight. Charging in my late Libyan hoplites into this cavalry fight. So the heavy horse should go down. Here you can see how bad the Carthaginian cavalry is. They got a downhill charge on these units. The units didn't get a charge, but they got killed, while only managing to kill 13 themselves. Now the mercenary companions are doing significantly better. So are the late Libyan hoplites. This is mirrored on the other side, so pretty soon I'll be able to bring in my cavalry, which I will need to, because here all of my units are getting absolutely destroyed. These units of mercenary noble fighters are being rear charged by chosen swords, and they are fighting 2 chosen swords, an old sword, another old sword from the front. These mercenary Gallic warriors are being destroyed by naked warriors. And here come the Gallic hunters out of hiding. They can hide in grass. So I'm going to charge my companions into these units. Should be enough to absolutely destroy them in a single charge. There we go. That's a lot of dead Gallic hunters. So I need to take care of these guys before I can really start using my elephants. When this unit breaks, I'll do the same here. Just charge in. And I'll try to kite away with my very few remaining swords here, just to try to separate his forces so he isn't able to protect his skirmishers with shield walls and such. Still, you can see the lack of spear units really hurts my opponent here. He was able to get the decisive advantage in infantry, because he spent most of his denarii there. But losing both your flanks is no good if you have even if you have an infantry rush, because you basically, with a rush like this, you basically have to be able to break through anything that you meet. And against an elephant faction that can bring decent cavalry, that's going to be a huge challenge. And now these units are very open to being charged from all sides. So although I am a bit behind on the balance of power there, which doesn't really mean much, I have him fairly surrounded fairly well, and I have a decided mobility advantage. Here I'm going to send in my elephants against these chosen swords, not getting the best charge. My own men were in the way, but not really too worried about anything going on here. The chosen swords are dropping fairly quickly, and I think it was a mistake using fire arrows here, because it's going to lower the morale of the chosen swords as well. And at this point it's probably better to kill my elephants than try to make them run amok, because them running amok here, it's not really going to do a whole lot to my own men, but killing them will. So I'm sending my African elephants over here, away from any potential javelins coming in. I'm just going to try to finish off this engagement here as soon as possible by cycle charging with my companions and sending my elephants in. Over here I'm going to try to just hold him for a little while so he isn't able to support. Sending the companions in, as you can see, they are not that deadly on the charge, they are better in a prolonged melee. They only have a charge bonus of 33, which is actually less than Carthaginian cavalry, significantly less than the 40 of the Aspis companions, which are comparable melee cavalry. And now there are just some blobs going on here. These naked warriors and chosen swords are getting boxed in by companions and elephants. My late Libyan hoplites are holding out for quite some time here. 48 morale, not too shabby actually, for a unit of that price. One of my favorite units for Carthage, because they are so cheap and they can do really unexpected things with those 30 plus against large. Makes them really useful to have on the flanks. So now I'm just setting my opponent up for the coup de grace. I am going to charge straight into these, put the elephants up front, charge straight into the front of the shield walls. It doesn't matter if my elephants get stuck. I'm going to be able to at the same time send in companions. And let's have a look here what the elephants can do to the front of these guys. And these guys are facing this way, so they're going to get, bam, there we go. They're going to get all sorts of wrecked. Yep. They won't like that much, being rear charged and charged by elephants and losing men. But look at their kills, almost 200 kills for chosen swords. Those are a lot of dead mercenary Gallic warriors and Iberian swords. So the Iberian swords are a great unit, but if they get charged and thrown javelins at, they will die very quickly. So I'm kind of annoyed with how I've wasted those units, but in the end it didn't matter too much, because my opponent didn't have the tools to deal with these mercenary companions. 300 kills on both of them, and these elephants are, without having spears or without enabling your skirmishers to stay alive, it's going to take a lot of time to bring these elephants down with Oathsworn, and especially when they're exhausted and their melee attack drops. It's going to be really difficult. But the Oathsworn are holding here.
Understood.
Units with 70 morale or more are extremely difficult to break, even when attacked by elephants attacked in the rear and losing a significant amount of men. So I'll just fast forward here. And it's probably a mistake leaving my Libyan hoplites in there with these Oathsworn, because it will allow them to get kills and increase their morale a little by little, so they, when I'm pulling out, they're winning the combat and so on. It will enable them to get back in the fight a bit easier, I think, but at this point it really doesn't matter, other than drawing out the fight for a bit, because we have both called GG. There was no way my opponent was going to pull this one off. But I can cycle charge a bit just for the hell of it. My elephants are stuck there in a kind of weird position with these Oathsworn, because they are in a shield wall. Rear charging, and now the Oathsworn should start to waver soon. Here we go. The elephants are coming in with a trample charge. Not really hitting many of the guys, but still dropping a few of them. And that is a GG. So my opponent forgot these chosen swords over here, but now they are wavering and they should rout fairly quickly, and there it is. So here we can see the build of my opponent in more detail. So he had 6 chosen swords for Gallic hunters. I managed to botch these guys spectacularly. These guys did very well. The mercenary Celtic warriors died. The mercenary noble fighters, when not supported, they just died as well. So I'm not happy with how I used my infantry in this battle, but winning the flanks with these guys turned out to be decisive enough that I was able to take out his skirmishers and to have most of my cavalry left. So almost 350 kills for these companions, pretty good. Decent kills on the elephants. Most of the other units, not really sure. It would possibly be a better idea to take out one of these mercenary noble fighters and put in some Libyan infantry instead. Also with the mercenary Iberian swords, because against factions I know aren't going to bring elephants, I don't really need much javelin support against Arverni. So maybe just straight up Libyan infantry to hold the line better. Maybe even mercenary Samnites. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again